Guys, today we'll see theoretical part. Okay. And today we won't have long class as well. We'll have 1 hour of session today. In today's session, we'll try understanding about policy of firewall. Okay. Do you guys have any idea how many type of policies are there? See, ACL is also a policy. In Cisco, on a router or a switches, you configure a ACL, right? According to Cisco language, we call it as a policy. And in firewall, Cisco has a next generation firewall. That firewall is called FTD firewall. Cisco has two firewalls actually. ASA, this is not a next generation firewall. This is only a firewall. I believe till now we guys are aware of what is difference between normal firewall and a next generation firewall. Normal firewall does not have all the next generation features. So if I talk about Cisco's next generation firewall, that is FTD, Firepower Threat Defense. Okay. Here they call it as a access policy. Access control policy. And in ASA, they call it as a access list. Understood? Different firewalls, different terms are there. Now, when it comes to Palo Alto, policy is called security policy. It's called security policy. Under the security policy, we create a rule. Understood? Here also, under the access control policy, we create a rule. Under access list also, we create a rule. So policy means overall I'm talking about. And in that, when you create a statement, that is called a rule. Okay. So I'm talking about different firewalls, different terms used. Now here, three firewalls I have given you, three type of names are there. So in an interview, when you are going for a Palo Alto interview, they want to hear that specific word from you. They don't want to hear access list using as a common word in Palo Alto. No, they won't accept it. They need to hear they need to hear security policy. Okay. So these are the terms. These are terms.
The rules is nothing but just a permanent in right?
Correct. Terms used. But in reality, if you ask me how many types of policies are there, you guys know, but I don't know how much of you guys realize it. Okay. For sure, you guys know it. 100%. Types of policies. Okay. Tell me, guys, do you have any idea how many type of policies are there? See, I'm telling you, you are aware of it. Types of policies. Tell me. There are basically two types of policies, guys. When I say types of policies, there are two types. One is called implicit rule or implicit policy, and the other one is called explicit policy. Now let's understand what's the difference between implicit and explicit policy. You guys have heard about implicit and explicit? Implicit, you guys have heard in ACL also, there is one implicit rule called as a deny IP any, right? So implicit you guys have heard, but what about explicit? Have you heard about explicit? What is explicit? Okay. See, when I say implicit rule is system defined. First point. Second point is this is system defined. Second is you can't delete, edit, configure, etc. I mean, implicit rule can't be modified. You can't change it. Like in ACL, there is one rule called deny IP any. At the last, you'll have one hidden rule called as a implicit rule as a deny IP any. Can you guys delete that? No matter how much ACLs you create, you can't delete it. You can create override rule. Override in the sense you can remove, I mean, you can create another rule which will allow anything. I can create permit IP any. But still below there is one rule, deny IP any. System defined, can't delete, can't edit, can't configure. It's read only rule. Read only rule means you can see but you can't modify it. You can see but can't modify. That is called read only. Guys, am I clear what is? Is it clear what is implicit rule? Implicit rule जो सिस्टम में पहले से है, हमने नहीं बनाया, दैट इज कॉल्ड सिस्टम डिफाइंड. ना उसको हम डिलीट कर सकते हैं, ना एडिट कर सकते हैं, ना मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ देख सकते हैं लेकिन कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं. दैट इज कॉल्ड रीड ओनली. ओके, नाउ कमिंग टू एक्सप्लिसिट रूल. Explicit rule means user defined. We create it. Second is can be edited, deleted, etc. Configured. It's read and write both. It's read or write. Read and write means, read or write means we can read also and we can write as well. We can modify as well. Am I clear, guys? Is this clear? So,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
implicit rule, explicit rule. These are the two type of, I mean, these are the two types of policies or rule we can say. So basically, these are the two type of policies, implicit rule and explicit rule. The first priority is given to explicit. Okay. So please add this point. First priority is given to explicit. So between implicit and explicit, if you ask me who's given as a first priority, that is explicit. So first explicit comes, then implicit comes. So here, first explicit, then implicit. How? That I'll tell you. This we can understand with practical. Okay. You guys have noted this point, right? Okay. Now understand, in Palo Alto Firewall, there are three options. Okay. In Palo Alto, three ways we can create a policy. Okay. Three types we can create. In Palo Alto, let it be three ways only. Three ways we can create policy. One is intrazone. Second is interzone. And third is the universal. There are basically three ways of creating a policy. Okay. Guys, what do you mean by interzone?
That means so one, they have to also communicate with the two different. And
Sir.
the own, so they are communicating to apply policy. And universal, I guess, they are applying for the intra and inter one.
So intrazone is within the network, private network. Interzone include the
Okay.
internet. And in
Wait.
universal, I think.
See, intrazone means within a zone. Within a zone. This is called intrazone. Intrazone means within a zone. For example, you guys are doing a transaction within a same bank, SBI to SBI. That is called intra. Okay. This is called intrazone. Within a zone, like you are communicating between LAN to LAN. This is called intrazone. When you transfer an amount from one bank to another bank, SBI to ICICI, that is called interzone. That is called interbank transaction. Guys, in a simple word, I'm trying to make you understand. That's it. Okay. So when I say interzone, it should be different zones. Like it can be LAN to WAN, or it can be LAN to DMZ, LAN to, I just gave one example.
So, sir,
Universal zone, this is only in Palo Alto Firewall, only in Palo Alto Firewall. Understand, this rule, this way of creating is not available in any other firewall. So don't use this term with a checkpoint, FortiGate or FTD or AS. Universal means universal is like intra and inter zone, both at a time. You understood? Both
sir,
at a time.
okay, sir.
So intra is different, inter is different, universal is both combined together and applied at once. That is called intrazone.
Sir, intrazone within the same branch.
Guys, did you understand meaning of intrazone, interzone, and universal zone? Right? Okay. Now these three things we'll see in our practical. Okay. Okay. First, before I go for a practical, let me tell you one more thing. In Palo Alto Firewall, by default, we have two implicit rules. In Palo Alto Firewall, by default, we have two implicit rules. Now you know very well what is implicit rule. In Palo Alto Firewall, we have two implicit rules. One is intrazone, and conditions are, this is intrazone, and conditions are any source, any zone, any source, any destination, any user, right? Action is permit. You understood? So we have an intrazone. No matter what source IP you have, what destination IP you have, what source zone, what destination zone, everything will be any, and at last action is permit.
So what also should be mentioned?
I mean everything, including source means source IP and source port, destination IP and destination port. Now, second is interzone. Interzone is same thing, all any conditions, but action is deny. Understood? Now here I'll add one more thing. Any user, see guys here, any application, any app, add any app as well, any app, any service. So these are two default rules inside your Palo Alto firewall.
It is a by default policy, right?
Oh.
We are just checking the what type of policy we are using, like infra or infra. So it will take automatically.
Right now, forget about creating any rule. अभी हम कोई रूल बनाएंगे इसके बारे में भूल जाओ. Right now, just see what is present inside your firewall. Yeah, it's by default. We call it as an implicit rule. Check out here. See here. https://105.0.0.100. This is my firewall. I log in here. Admin capital A small p @12345. Without these understandings, you can't work in a real time. Somehow, if you work also, you won't have that confidence. Another thing is you'll keep making mistakes because you don't know the root part of your policy. Now, guys, for policy, we have a special tab here. Can you see this tab, policy? When I click on policy, firewall is not about only learning. It's understanding is very, very important. Without understanding, you will keep creating issues. There are many of students who don't have a clarity. I'll show you. बहुत सारे ऐसे student हैं. I'll show you one live example. Wait. What happens when you don't have confidence on creating a rules? I'll show you one live chat. Though I'm not supposed to show, but still I'm showing you. Okay. These are real-time working guys on a Palo Alto firewall. The student which I'm showing you right now belongs to US. She is working over there in a Palo Alto team, but she hasn't attended classes properly. I mean, she has attended with other trainers or something she has gone through where she isn't confident with policy part and all. इसके वजह से उसको क्या हो रहा है, बार बार वो हमको पिंग करती है. अभी उसने एडमिशन यहाँ पे लिया है CCIE सिक्योरिटी में. बार बार वो सर ये चेक कर दीजिए, ये वेरीफाई कर दीजिए, ये क्या करूं, ये वो क्या करूं. I mean, lots of queries she is getting all the time. She is dependent, though she has done some trainings, but still she is dependent. But those who have gone through process, I'm not telling my students only, I'm telling anyone's student who has followed the way, I mean the path, whatever it is, systematic way of training. If they have followed, then they won't get these difficulties. So what do you understand with this? Teaching you this much, but not in a systematic way, does not make sense. Personally, if you ask me, in 2016, I have taken an official training from Palo Alto. These slides which you see is not of mine. This slide which you see right now, from which I'm explaining you, these slides are official Palo Alto's slides. So in 2016, I had taken their Palo Alto official training through my company itself. And it was in a way of trainer itself, not in a way of a student or not in a way of teaching any client. So those trainings were especially provided for trainers. So we have some, so we know that there is a system, there is a particular process of teaching. If you go without process, without telling students basic part, if you directly teach them how to create a policy, fine, they will understand how to create a policy. तुमको गाड़ी चलाना आता है, समझ गए, लेकिन अगर कहीं पे जाके अगर गियर फंस गया, तब गियर को कैसे निकालना है, या माइनर जो इश्यूज है उसको कैसे खुद से फिक्स करना है, ये तो पता नहीं होगा ना। यही चीजें हैं। अगर फायरवॉल सीखना है, सिस्टमेटिक से सीखो, प्रोसेस जो उसके होते हैं उसको सीखो, तब जाके एक्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बन पाती है वहां पे। Policies. Now here we have different type of policies. Security, NAT, QS, policy-based forwarding, decryption, tunnel, etc. Now here, I'm not creating a policy right now. These two policies, have I created? No, I didn't create it. It's already present inside a firewall. This is one thing. What I gave a point here, read the points given for implicit. What did I tell you about implicit? It's a system defined. That's the first thing that I told you, right? System defined. It means what? I haven't created it. It's already created. So these two rules are already created. It's an implicit rule. Now let's say if I try to delete it also, for example, if I click on it, what it says at the top, read only. You can't modify, you can't change it, you can't edit. Let's say if I select this and if I look for enable, disable or delete, see, it's not highlighted because it's implicit and it's system defined. I believe you guys understood what's the meaning of implicit rule, right?
The super user cannot be also be deleted.
This is not related to super user. This is related to implicit and explicit rule. Of course, we are logging with super user or device administrator user, but even super user does not have that authority. No one. And no one can delete it. It's not in their control. It's hard-coded. It's hardened. Hardening means what? It's pre-coded inside your operating system. So this part I'm clear, I guess. User defined, can't, oh, sorry. Yeah, this is implicit. Can't delete, edit, or configure. It's a read only. This part is clear. Now, guys, explicit rule. Now, let me show you one of the example of explicit rule. I told you first priority is given to explicit. Right now, what's the number of this implicit rule, guys? Write it down. One is intrazone and second is interzone, right? Please make a note.
It is a priority.
I'll tell you about the priority. Yeah, these numbers are priority, nothing but a priority. See, right now here everything is any, right? Guys, please focus here, then take a note. Source, under the source zone, under the source address, user, device, under the destination, zone, address, device, everything. What is the condition? Any. Right. This is what I'm talking about. All conditions are any. No matter you come from whichever zone, no matter you come with any IP, it will match this policy. Any means what? Any condition. Right. This is what I want you to understand. So we have two rules with priority of 1 and 2. Please make a note. Intrazone priority is 1, interzone priority is 2. Here. Done? Okay. Now understand this intrazone and interzone, these two policies are responsible for not letting you to communicate from one zone to another zone or within not two zones, interzone is actually responsible for not allowing you to communicate from one zone to other zone. See here, guys. Guys, focus here. Make a note later. Last time we had tested all our connectivity, right? So coming to LAN PC, I'll try to ping 10.11.11.10. I'm able to ping my LAN interface and IP config/all. I can see here inside of PC, I have IP, I have subnet mask, I have a gateway, and I have a DNS. Everything is there, right? There should not be a routing issue. Apart from routing issue, I mean, if everything is good, but still if you're not able to communicate between two zones, between two different zones, if you are not able to communicate, that means problem is not with your device. Problem is not with your routing. It's firewall rule that is actually stopping you to communicate between zones. Right? Now, here if I come, so IP interface brief, interface is 0/0, no shared. So IP interface brief, you can see this is our IP address 192.168.40.3. And if you see IP of PC, this is 10.11.11.7. So let's try communicating between them. 192.168.40.3. Am I able to ping? So the reason here, the primary reason here is we have an implicit rule which is denying a packet. Interzone means different zones. Interzone means different zones. Here, interzone means different zones. It means source zone means any. Any zone means it can be LAN, WAN, DMZ, any zone. Destination zone, any. Now, destination also can be DMZ, WAN, anything, right? LAN. So, due to all condition here, I mean, any condition here, it is matching the rule and your packet is being denied. You can see here, your packet is being denied here. And after some time, you guys will definitely see hit count here. I got some hit counts for intrazone, right? Not for interzone. Let me refresh the page. Here you see you have a refresh option. Click here on refresh. You see I got a hit count. So conclusion is when I don't have any rules in a firewall, still I have two rules. That is system defined. And when I'm trying to communicate between LAN zone, I mean any zone to any different zone, my packet is denied based on implicit rule. अब जनरली आंसर क्या होता है स्टूडेंट्स का या किसी का जिसको अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है, वो बोलेगा आपने तो रूल ही क्रिएट नहीं किया है लैन और डीएमजी के बीच में, इसलिए पैकेट ड्रॉप हो रहा है. पैकेट को कैसे अलाउ करना है उसका आंसर है टू क्रिएट अ रूल बिटवीन लैन टू डीएमजी. Why communication is not happening? Answer is implicit rule is denying a packet. How can I make a connectivity? By creating a rule between LAN to DMZ. You are misunderstanding the question. My straight question was in an interview, why packet is getting denied when I'm trying to communicate between LAN to DMZ? Right? So you will definitely ask me, have you created a rule between LAN to DMZ? I'll say no. And your answer is, okay, you have to create a rule, then only you can communicate. Your answer is wrong. Did I ask you how to communicate between LAN to DMZ? What did I ask? I asked why communication is not happening. बातों में उसका मीनिंग छुपा है, लॉजिक.
Sir, what is the meaning of hit count?
Hit count means how many packet did hit the rule.
Security नहीं है तो hit count कैसे हम चलता है? तो उसके लिए
पैकेट फायरवॉल के पास आया, फायरवॉल ने प्रोसेस किया पैकेट को, लेकिन लास्ट में एक्शन क्या है? डिनाई. देखो, तुम रोड पे जब जाते हो, अब मान लो तुम रोड पे जा रहे हो, ठीक है, यहाँ पे सीसीटीवी कैमरा लगा हुआ है, तुम इधर से गुजर रहे हो, तुम यहीं तक हो तो तुम्हारा डिटेक्ट नहीं करेगा, लेकिन अगर तुमने इसको पार कर लिया तो ये तुमको डिटेक्ट कर लेगा. क्यों डिटेक्ट किया? क्योंकि तुमने क्रॉस किया. अब भले ही हो सकता है यहाँ पे तुम्हारा बैरियर लगा हो, तुम यहाँ पे नहीं जा सकते हो, पैकेट ड्रॉप हो रहा है, तुम इससे बाहर नहीं जा सकते हो, ठीक है, लेकिन डिटेक्टिंग तो मेरा यहाँ पे हो रहा है ना, कितने व्हीकल्स आए डिटेक्ट हो रहा है, बाद बाकी ना जा पाए अलग बात है. सो बेसिकली सेंसर्स आर देयर डिटेक्टिंग इट. मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि पैकेट एक जोन से दूसरे जोन को जाने के लिए आया. नाउ हियर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ पैकेट फ्लो विल कम. You guys remember I had taught you packet flow? Source zone, destination zone. I'll give you a quick reminder, and you guys also need to check your packet flow class. Okay? Go and check out once again packet flow class before coming for tomorrow's class. In a module 1 itself, I had taught you guys about the packet flow.
Sir, एक चीज और पूछा, जैसे सर जो troubleshooting session में हम कर रहे थे, तो firewall वाला साइड में होता है, हम अपना नेटवर्क हम राउटिंग की साइड में होता है, हम कह रहे हैं हमें रिसीविलिटी नहीं हुआ है, वो कह रहा है कि हमें हिट दिखता है, वो कह रहा है हमें हिट दिखता है, तो तुम्हारा राउटिंग का इशू होगा, तो ऐसा कुछ ऑर्गेनाइज होते रहते हैं. तो सर हमारे पास वैसा लॉस नहीं होता कि हम कैसे नहीं कर पाते हैं कि फायर पे जा रहा है, तो सर वो थोड़ा सा बड़ा एक्सप्लेन करना मेरे लिए अगर मेरे डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है, तो इसलिए थोड़ा मैं इसको मतलब ये बड़ा अच्छा अपनी सिनेरियो होता है, बट मेरा आंसर ऑफ लॉस देना थोड़ा सा मेरे लिए डिफिकल्ट होता है
ठीक.
टू मेक अंडरस्टैंड टू कस्टमर एंड अदर टाइप्स.
पहले पैकेट फ्लो को समझो, तब चीजें टेक्निकली समझ में आएगी, ठीक है. यहाँ पे ये देखो कि मैंने क्या बताया था पैकेट फ्लो में, ये इनग्रेस इंटरफेस है और ये ईग्रेस इंटरफेस है. तो इनग्रेस इंटरफेस पे जब भी कोई पैकेट आता है तो वो पहले सोर्स जोन को देखेगा, सोर्स एड्रेस को देखेगा, डेस्टिनेशन जोन, डेस्टिनेशन एड्रेस, ये सब अलाउड है या नहीं है इसको देखेगा, क्या ट्रांसलेशन अप्लाइड है उसको इवैल्यूएट करेगा. देखो, पैकेट फॉरवर्डिंग लास्ट पार्ट है, यहाँ पे जाके पैकेट फॉरवर्ड होगा, लेकिन पैकेट फॉरवर्ड होने से पहले यहाँ पे क्या हो जा रहा है? एक्शन डिनाई. लेकिन इतना प्रोसेसिंग तो हो रहा है ना. तो जैसे ही उसने सोर्स जोन डिटेक्ट किया, डेस्टिनेशन जोन डिटेक्ट किया, सॉरी गाइस, कौन सा एप्लीकेशन एक्सेस करना चाहते हो, पिंग था एप्लीकेशन, ये सारे प्रोसेसिंग जब होते हैं तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि कहीं ना कहीं जो जिस सोर्स जोन से मैंने पैकेट को इनिशिएट किया, जैसे लैन से अभी मैंने पैकेट इनिशिएट किया, लेट्स एज्यूम हियर we initiated a packet from which zone? Right now, we initiated a packet from which zone?
Yeah.
LAN zone. Tell me, this is my source zone. What was my source IP? 10.11.11.7 was the source IP. What was my destination zone? My destination zone was 192.168.40.3 was the destination zone. We tried pinging for which application? Ping. That was my ICMP protocol, right? So it is counted as an application. I tried pinging it from PC to router in between one zone to other zone. That means interzone. When I tried communicating between interzone, my packet wasn't successful. It was somewhere dropped. So who dropped it? Firewall dropped it. Was it a problem of routing? No. Default route between two devices were there. See, right now you were telling me, guys, your physical friend was telling me in his real time, whenever any packet is, initiated and when it is going to a firewall, then his firewall team member says, I'm getting a hit count, but the packet is being dropped. Either you are not telling me correctly और he is misunderstanding. ठीक है? अब तुम बोल रहे हो कि यहां से पैकेट इनिशिएट हुआ, फायरवॉल को गया और फायरवॉल ने हिट काउंट जनरेट किया. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि उसने फायरवॉल के रूल को ट्रिगर किया. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मेरे तरफ से ना राउटिंग का इश्यू है. ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे चीजें कंडीशन पे अप्लाई करती हैं. मेरे मेरे जो सोर्स आईपी और डेस्टिनेशन आईपी थे उसके हिसाब से पैकेट फायरवॉल पे पहुंचा. उसने कौन से रूल को हिट किया और उस बिहाफ पे कौन सा रूल का लॉग जनरेट हुआ, लॉग के बेसिस पे पता चल जाएगा कौन सा रूल हिट हुआ है मेरा. ठीक है? अब उस रूल पे जाके देखेंगे हिट काउंट बढ़ रहा है कि नहीं. अगर बढ़ रहा है तो इसका मतलब मेरा राउटिंग क्लियर है भाई. देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम विथ राउटिंग, प्रॉब्लम इज विथ माय फायरवॉल. नाउ इन अ फायरवॉल, in that rule, if ping is allowed, then I can ping. But you're trying to telnet and ping is only allowed. So what will happen? Your packet will get dropped. Your packet will get dropped by whom? Implicit rule. Implicit rule, explicit rule पे हम लोग 2 दिन पढ़ेंगे. आज और कल पढ़ते हैं और क्लियर हो जाएंगे concept. So understand right now here when I'm trying to ping, my packet is reaching firewall and firewall says, hey, for any application you see here, यहाँ पे देखो सारे कुछ तो any था ही, एप्लीकेशन भी any है, सर्विस भी any है. It means either I try to ping, telnet, SSH, no matter whatever I try to do, it will match based on any condition. रूल कब मैच होता है? वॉयलेशन कब होता है? जब हम लोग वॉयलेशन मैच कर लेते हैं. रूल कब ट्रिगर होता है? जब वो मैच कर जाता है, उसका कंडीशन मैच कर जाता है. तो उसका सोर्स आईपी, सोर्स जोन, सोर्स आईपी, डेस्टिनेशन जोन, डेस्टिनेशन आईपी, एप्लीकेशन और सर्विस, ये सारे कंडीशंस उसका एनी है. एनी मतलब कुछ भी हो सकता है ना. तो ऑब्वियसली ये ट्रिगर करेगा ही करेगा. तो one zone to another zone, if I'm trying to communicate, if my routing part is clear, it means my firewall will obviously deny it. And if it denies, then it will give you a hit count. It means what? My rule was triggered. पैकेट फायरवॉल के पास पहुंचा. अब फायरवॉल वाले को बोलेंगे अगर आपका हिट काउंट्स आ रहे हैं, दैट मीन्स देयर इज नो राउटिंग इशू फ्रॉम माय साइड because you are getting hit count. It means there is some issue with your firewall policy. अगर उनके पास हिट काउंट नहीं आ रहे हैं तो डाउट है, हो सकता है मेरे राउटिंग में इशू है या तो उसके रूल्स के कंडीशन में गड़बड़ी है. मैंने रूल क्रिएट कर दिया लैन टू वैन और पिंग कर रहा हूं लैन टू डीएमजी, कहां से मैच करेगा? समझ रहे हो? तो इसको इसी तरह कोरिलेट करो और जैसे ही धीरे धीरे कॉन्फ़िगर करो।
चेक कर लो, फेसबुक कर लो, तो चीजें हम बेसिकली करते हैं। हाँ वहाँ पे जा रहा है नहीं जा रहा है, और एक दो तुम्हारा सवाल आते हैं कि हाँ वो किस जॉब पे क्लिक कर रहा है अपने राउंड में, उसके बाद ये समझो कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं।
धीरे धीरे समझो इस चीज को, इसीलिए मैं इस पे टाइम दे रहा हूँ।
ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है।
यहाँ पे I could directly go and configure a policy and I could show you, okay, this is how we make a connectivity done. In 2 lines, I would finish this topic. But why am I discussing the entire part? Because as a working professional, when you guys will go in a real time, you'll need a strong understanding on zones. Strong understanding on a policy. See guys, if you have selected any one of these zones, your add button will not get highlighted. So make sure you click out of it. If doesn't let you out to click, then refresh the page. कई बार confusion हो जाता है ना, add क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, add क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Now when I refreshed page, it's not selected with any other zones. Policies. Now I can create a policy. Let's give a name of policy, LAN to DMZ. See, we have 3 conditions here, right? Interzone, intrazone, universal. What should I go with? Interzone I should go with. If I select intrazone, will it create a problem? No. Because universal means it will combine both. You know, intrazone rule is totally different. Interzone rule is totally different. Interzone means what? When I'll try to communicate between 2 zones. So here I can take a tag as well. Tag is not mandatory, it's optional, but color really matters. Now source zone, LAN with any source IP. I'm not fixing any particular IP. Destination zone. See, I'm clicking on different tabs here. And you see all the tab where red color is indicating, that is mandatory. So let's say here, if I'm clicking on a source, right now I have defined source here. What it says, underline, where do you find the underline? Destination. It means there is something there is something required. Required field is there. Until you don't fulfill the requirement, your OK button will not get highlighted. That's basically required. Now let's click on destination and I'll click on add. My destination is DMZ, and what's my destination? Any. Zone is DMZ, but in DMZ, which IP? Any. Application, let it be any. Services, let it be application default. Action, let it be allow. Click on logs and say okay.
In service URL category, what would be there?
Right now, I didn't give anything. I just gave any.
Okay, but what is the term under the service URL category? There are any application URL or something?
Services means what? Like port numbers. Port numbers are nothing but services.
So it is an explicit policy which we have.
Correct. This is called explicit policy. Now, understand the last line of my policy that I have taught you guys. I told priority is given to explicit, not to a implicit. Now, guys, earlier you made a note, right? What was the number one priority? What was the number one given to which rule? Now see, one is automatically, dynamically given to explicit rule. This rule which I created is called explicit rule, and this is implicit. So did you see that explicit rule automatically took a number one priority? Did I create? Can I change this? Can I drag and drop here? No. Can I see here? Move down, move bottom. Can I do this? No. It says you are already at a bottom. It means what? This rule can't be below implicit rule. अगर अगर मान लो अगर ये implicit रूल के नीचे होता तो क्या होता? समझ लो यहां पे, अगर ये implicit रूल के नीचे होता तो तुम कुछ भी कर लेते, कोई भी एक्शन अलाउ करके तुम क्रिएट कर लेते। आखिर फर्स्ट रूल तो ऊपर से नीचे मैच होता है, तो फर्स्ट में कौन सा रूल ट्रिगर हो जाता? इम्प्लिसिट वाली ट्रिगर हो जाती, और उसमें तो डिनाई आईपी एनी एनी है। इट मीन्स वो डिनाई कर देता पैकेट को। समझ रहे हो मेरा बात? guys getting my point what I'm saying? So here we can see the entire packets would get dropped if implicit rule would be at top। इसीलिए रूल्स हमेशा एक्सप्लिसिट से इम्प्लिसिट तक जाती। आई मीन पहले एक्सप्लिसिट चेक होगा फिर इम्प्लिसिट चेक होगा। ठीक है?
Let's suppose if in case we are creating two explicit zone, so which one? So in that case we can drag and drop.
हाँ, correct. If I create another zone, another rule, there I can make a choice. But here, this is not in my control. These two rules are not in my control. So technically, my LAN zone, if I want to ping between LAN to DMZ, this rule should get triggered first, right? If this rule gets triggered, it will deny. So that's a reason priority is given to explicit, not to a implicit. Now, since this rule has been created, now if I come here and go to LAN PC and ping, see, it's communicating. Is this clear?
Yes.
Please make one very important point regarding your rule. Rules are always unidirectional. Rules are always unidirectional, not bidirectional. अभी हम लोगों ने रूल क्रिएट किया LAN DMZ. Source was LAN, destination was DMZ. So can I communicate from DMZ to LAN? No, I can't, because it's unidirectional.
Create the DNG to LAN.
Correct.
Other zone. Other policy.
Correct. So here, if I try to ping 10.11.11.7, now tell me what's the reason behind not communicating here?
Because policy not created to DNG to LAN.
Again, you are making mistake. No, see,
Source and
when
destination
you
zone
are
is
in an interview, this logic can work, but there is a process of telling the answer. चलो ठीक है, मान लिया यहाँ पे explicit rule नहीं है, तो इसका मतलब मेरा explicit rule मैच नहीं किया, तो any condition में तो मेरा implicit मैच कर गया. So when I am trying to ping between DMZ to LAN, I don't have a rule. It means it didn't match the explicit rule. तो वो कौन से रूल से जाके मैच कर गया? Implicit rule से. So your answer should be, if in an interview they ask you, I'm not able to communicate between DMZ to LAN, what can be a reason? But I have a rule between LAN to DMZ. So what can be a reason? Then you'll say, That means packet might be hitting your implicit rule and it is getting denied. So to make a connectivity, you might need to create a rule between DMZ to LAN. ऐसे जवाब देना है। डायरेक्ट ये बोलोगे कि you have to create a policy between LAN to sorry DMZ to LAN. They will tell you I have a rule. I have a rule. No matter that is implicit rule or explicit rule, I have a rule. अब क्या करोगे? तो उसको क्लियरली बोलो, make them very clear. So might be when you're trying to ping, your policy is not matching explicit rule and it is getting triggered to implicit rule. So if this is the condition, then we need to create a policy between DMZ to LAN. If they argue, okay, this is also there, I have a rule between DMZ to LAN with matching all the conditions, then there could be a routing issue. Now I'll check the hit count. Am I getting a hit count of that particular rule whenever I'm sending a packet DMZ to LAN? If hit count is not coming, that means there is something issue in my internal network itself. जहां से मेरा पैकेट इनिशिएट हो रहा है ना, वहीं पे कोई गड़बड़ी है, पैकेट फायरवॉल तक पहुंच ही नहीं रहा है. If everything is good in a firewall, if rules are according to my conditions, then there is a problem in routing or something else. Am I clear? जितना आज मैंने बोला है उतने को ही जाके आज देखो और उसका प्रॉपर नोट बना लो. कल हम लोग बात करेंगे ये सारी चीजों पे फिर से विद प्रैक्टिकल. एक दिन और देंगे इस पे. CLI भी कर सकते हैं, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, कल बता देना. ओके, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll end the class today here itself. ठीक है.